Squad and I wanted to get together, do a little fireside chat to talk about this latest patch update for Helldivers 2. It contains a lot of weapon buffs and nerfs. Just kind of wanted to review this with them right now and kind of get their take on it. If you like this sort of stuff, subscribe to the channel. We could always use another member of the squad. We're trying to build a community here, and if you like the video, that certainly helps with the traction on YouTube as well. So the CB9 exploding crossbow, which I don't think any of us use, right?
No, never used it once.
So they're saying looks like they nerfed it a little bit, slightly smaller explosion, although they increased stagger. What is stagger? I don't know.
Stagger on a crossbow?
Yeah. Decreased number of maximum mags from 12 to 8. That's huge. Increased number of magazines received from resupply from 6 to 8. So initially you're down to 8, but then they give you 8 instead of 6. Reduction in ergonomics. Muzzle velocity increased. So sounds like even more reason not to get it in my case. The Quasar cannon, they increased the recharge time by 5 seconds. Wasn't it already kind of long? 5 seconds seems like a lot.
Yeah, it's a bit much. A little bit of a double whammy. Yeah, I think it's around, I don't know that I ever counted it out, but I want to say it used to be about 4 or 5 seconds between shots. So now it's going to be more like 10. Yeah. But it still hits just as hard. So.
The Adjudicator, which was something I really enjoyed before I got the plasma. Full auto is now the default fire mode, which is fine. I was noticing that before anyway. Reduced the recoil, which is nice. Increased maximum mags from 6 to 8, also nice. Increased the number of magazines received from the resupply from 6 to 8, which is great. And then they just moved it to the assault rifle category. So all in all, it looks like it's a buffed weapon now for this update.
You said the Adjudicator?
Yeah.
Which
I used it earlier. 25 rounds, the clip seems too small for full auto. Even in small burst mode, I found I was running out of ammo constantly.
Yeah.
But actually, that's kind of a theme this whole patch.
Yes.
Next up, the laser cannon. Slightly increased damage, which is awesome. Slightly reduced damage versus target volume body. So they've made it less of an AoE weapon. Is that what I'm reading out of this?
That's what it seems to be. I mean,
I haven't used it in so long. I know Jason was using it for a while.
No, I think that means it does less damage against either like Bile Titans. Might give it a whirl next.
Next up, Punisher Plasma. Decrease the maximum mags.
It's so much better.
Is it? So they decreased the maximum mags from 12 to 8. So that's a nerf.
That hurts, but again, that's the theme.
Yeah. Increase the amount of magazines received from the resupply from 6 to 8, so they're balancing that out. Increase projectile speed, but will still keep a smaller range. Excuse me, similar range.
Yeah, so much better. You know how it used to like arc and kind of, it still arcs a little bit, but it fires way better. Far superior than to what it was before. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit.
Decreased damage fall off on the explosion, and it's been moved to the weapon energy or energy weapons category.
Which is where it always belongs.
Yeah. The Arc Blitzer increased shots per minute from 30 to 45, which I think is huge because one of the reasons why I didn't like that weapon is because it seemed like it wasn't big enough for the amount of shots. And then they moved that to energy weapon category as well. So that was just clearly a buff. The Eruptor decreased the number of maximum mags from 12 to 6, which is a big punch in the face.
That's huge.
Yep. Yeah, I can't use it anymore. They've made it completely unusable between lowering the number of mags as well as
the damage fall off.
The damage.
Yeah.
It's just so bad.
That's unfortunate.
Like I said, I was telling Dan earlier tonight, Jason, that like when I had played with that on Friday, I was taking out walkers in one shot and heavy devastators in 2 shots. And then tonight I was trying to use it. It was taking me 2 to 3 shots to take out a walker and like 3 to 4 shots to take out a devastator. So severely nerfed. And then you add in the fact that you don't get nearly as many shots because of your ammo capacity. Just can't use it.
Another energy weapon that took a big punch in the face, the Sickle, which they reduced the mags in half from 6 to 3.
I don't know. When I use the Sickle, I usually combine it with the laser cannon, and if I alternate back and forth, I never have to reload either of them. So I don't know if that's going to hurt as much as some of the other ones.
I was gonna say energy-based not having quite as much is not as big of a deal.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's still going to be a finer balancing act than it would be before.
The Scythe increased the damage from 300 to 350. So a little nice buff there, but decreased the max number of mags from 6 to 4.
I tried the Scythe,
The Scythe
numerous times, and I can't imagine that damage buff is going to make it enough to be worth it, but certainly we'll test it.
The Railgun, they brought it back from the nerf they recently did a few weeks back. They increased the armor penetration in both safe and unsafe mode, so I might have to give it another try again. And then stagger force is slightly reduced. I'm not sure what stagger force is. Do you guys know what that is?
Yeah, when you shoot the enemies and they like get knocked back or knocked off balance. Stop approaching or stop shooting.
Gotcha. They fixed the heavy machine gun and they gave it a third-person crosshair that is now enabled, which I don't use the heavy machine gun, so I didn't know it was broke, but that's good to know.
It would make sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
It didn't seem to be that much better than the regular machine gun even before using it. So.
Yeah. Counter sniper, the Diligence counter sniper, damage is increased from 128 to 140, so that's a nice buff. And then it says ergonomics have been improved. So I'm not sure what that means.
That's nice. Usually when they say that, it's like the handling is less sluggish side to side. They did that with the laser cannon, made the ergonomics better, and it made the weapon feel 100 times better.
Nice. Diligence. I don't know what the Diligence is, but the damage has been increased from 112 to 125. Is that a pistol?
That's a marksman rifle. It's
it's a marksman rifle.
The lower one before you get the counter sniper version. I've used them against bots because you can scope in. You can like shoot devastators and things like in their weak spots, their little heads.
Okay.
The counter sniper is the better one because it's medium armor pen, but it was kind of hard to aim. I used it to decent effect, but I'm definitely looking forward to testing it out with the better handling because that was kind of one of the hardest things. If you ever use the anti-material rifle sniper, it's kind of like that, where it's very kind of swayy and not easy to go from target to target. So I wouldn't use it against bots. Too much in your face.
The Redeemer slightly increased the recoil, so okay, whatever.
Why?
Peacemaker increased damage from 60 to 75. The Senator increased damage from 150 to 175. And it says speed loader added when reloading on an empty cylinder. It speeds up reload when it's empty considerably, it says. The Dagger.
The Senator's a pistol. I mean, I'd still always rather use my Redeemer.
For sure. No, agreed. The Dagger increased damage from 150 to 200, so that's pretty significant. The Liberator damage increased from 55 to 60. Ooh, 5 units. Ooh. The Liberator.
I'm going back to using my Liberator.
That's right, for those 5 hefty units. And that looks like that's kind of on some of the rest of these here. The Liberator, Concussive, increased damage 10 units, 55 to 65. The Jar 5 nerfed it, decreased it from 300 to 275. I was already on the defense about the Jar. If they're going to keep nerfing this kind of stuff, I don't know if I'm going to ever go back to it. Jason, you were using the Jar, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, they buffed it. I think it's probably... I don't know how much it's going to be noticeable, because it was 200 and they buffed it to 300. They knocked it down to 275. So it's good against the bots. Again, I probably wouldn't against the bugs. They're up in your grill too much. But it's really nice for taking out the Devastators because 1 or 2 shots to the face will kill them.
Guard dogs, we already learned they nerfed them by 30%, which I'm noticing. I don't know about you guys. I've been noticing.
Well, it's good for us in the sense that it's not killing us, but it's definitely not nearly as effective against everything that's coming at us.
Yeah. And then the new Airburst rocket launcher, they did a few tuning things to it. It no longer detonates when shot near stratagems, the HMG turrets, sentries, resupplies, and other Helldivers. So that's a nice safety feature they put in there. And then they reduced the proximity radius. So there is a little bit of a nerf there. I've used it. It's a little clunky to use, and the reload time is quite significant. I do have a short up on the channel right now that folks can check out if they want to see my information on that.
Yeah,
I mean, if you know, I mean, this is the problem, right? If you knew you were going into somewhere with a shrieker nest, that would be super useful, but you never know. You know, same thing like with the bot ships, that the factory, those gun ships. Like, I think it would be super useful against those too, but how do you know when you're going to see those and not?
So that's all the weapons, and then just to round this out, there's a couple of stratagem tunings. The machine gun sentry's health has been increased to match the other sentries. The Tesla Tower's health has been increased by 33%, which is, I guess, kind of good.
Pretty big.
That's huge.
I always felt that it didn't last long enough anyway. And then the spear added reload stage reload after the spent missile has been discarded.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Well, when you're spent, you want to be reloaded.
Naturally.
Check out the patch notes. We'll link them in the description. You can see there's also enemy tuning. There's some enemy patrol tuning and some gameplay fixes and other level adjustments.
I was going to say, let me ask you this question, though. It's a big fat drop, but is it a positive one? I'm just saying, does it feel like they have properly balanced the game more by this, or does it feel like they've just made it harder?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say I never felt like excessive ammo was a problem. So the fact that they've reduced total clips across quite a few guns, I don't know. I would rather see a damage nerf or a reduction in something than to make me have to run out of bullets more often.
I think that compared with the major order we have right now, where we're seeing so many more bugs, I think that's making it challenging.
Yep.
And maybe that's the point, but
yeah, it's hard to tell. I get that feeling like there's been a lot of things that have been either too easy or too hard based on their original vision, and then just getting to them when they get to them.
Yep, that's fair.
I'll leave you with this note from the patch notes regarding enemy patrols. This is very interesting. So patrol spawning has been increased when there are fewer than 4 players. The fewer the players, the bigger the change. For 4-player missions, there will be no change in the amount of spawns compared to before. The biggest noticeable change will be for solo players at higher difficulties.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be, 4 out of 4, it's normal spawn rates. If you're 3 out of 4, it should be 3/4 of the spawn rates. If it's 2 out of 4, it should be half, and if it's 1 out of 4, it would be a quarter. It used to be 1 out of 6 for that single person. So it was unintentionally giving them even fewer. So it shouldn't hurt.
And that's it for our review of the patch notes. I do appreciate the time of Jason and Ralph to join me today to go through this. If you like this sort of stuff, subscribe to the channel. We could always use another member of the squad. We're trying to build a community here, and if you like the video, that always helps for our traction on YouTube. And we're playing Helldivers 2 all week long on the channel. Check us out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Drop in, say hi. We'll see you soon.
That's it for now. Big Daddy Dizzo will be live again soon. Until then, consider your life choices and don't be a jerky.